everyone. Welcome to the Busted Knees and Pretty Trees podcast. Today, we have an important gear episode for you. This one might get hot and humid because we're talking about what backpackers are going to be wearing from the waist down.
Ooh.
I am your host, Travis White. I'm happy to be back in the studio with the guys, but I'm a bit beside myself, a little distraught. After last week's episode, I feel I need to address the listeners about what conspired against me during the inaugural Busted Knees Outdoor Trivia Challenge. To be clear, I accepted my loss with dignity and grace, and I stood proudly a step down on the podium.
You did.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
But as you witnessed, the rug was pulled from beneath my sturdy lead and assured victory was ripped from my possession. What sinister plots were conjured in the dark, dank, freshly painted corners of the Busted Knees studio during my bathroom break?
This is great.
I believe I may have fallen victim to some shady machinations. I'm not bitter. That's all I got to say. Let's get the guys in here. Perhaps he was only an unwitting bystander with his heart of gold, upon which this conspiracy preyed. Or has he lost his innocence by trading my trust for a top-tier podcast game show accolade? Regardless, he is the winner and inaugural Busted Knees and Pretty Trees Trivia Night champion, Patty Richardson, everyone.
Yeah. Hello. Dude, I am grinning from ear to ear. That was the greatest intro. I think I've said that 5 or 6 times now throughout the episodes, but that was wonderful. And
I had to bring it up.
Unbelievably happy to be here, dude. Down in the studio on yet another Friday night, talking with those people out there listening, and you guys down here in the studio. It's just exactly where I want to be.
I'm feeling pretty good too.
Yeah.
And of course, we have our game master, Puppet Master. Has the curse of the Yellowstone Raven finally come to pass, possessing him with an insatiable lust for power and control? He's a level 4 novice in trivia deception, but also a promising nature photographer, Bradley Greer.
I don't know what you mean by trivia deception, because I think it made perfect sense. If you got 3 words right, you get 3 points. If you got 1 word right, you got 1 point. And how many words did you get right?
Those were not the rules we started with.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I probably should have handled that a little, but it logically.
Hey, let's not talk too much about this. I am a victim.
It logically made sense.
I just proved my
I think it logically
mystery solved.
I think it logically makes sense the way we did it, but I just didn't warn you of that in advance, and that part of it is what my fault is.
I think it logically makes sense as well, Brad. I think you should never look back, only look forwards, and just nominate your victor. And go forward.
We'll fine tune it. Maybe someday we'll look back and put an asterisk on this. But
what? No.
Yeah,
we will never
that's
do that.
fair. I think
You
that's
will
fair.
never put an asterisk on my victory. I do not enjoy that.
We'll
Dude,
see.
anyone listening from my fantasy football league right now as well, they call me Asterix Patricks in my my fantasy football league 15 years running. They call me that.
Brad got an asterisk on the championship cup.
Yeah. I auto-drafted one year because I was working 3rd shift at the time.
You're Asterix Bratstrix?
Yeah. But also, in defense of these accusations, I was trying to run the trivia show with the PowerPoint on the TV, extending my screen to the TV. And every now and then I would click one too many slides, and Travis would see the answer before I asked the question. So
how would you ever prove I didn't?
He saw
know it?
2. I have the rough cuts where you say, "Oh, I saw the answer." Scree.
Yeah, but I could have
Yellowstone?
known it. I could have known the answer.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. We'll never know.
We'll never know, other than we do know who won. And I could give a shit what you guys are talking about right now. In my mind, and the way I celebrated that night was as a victor.
Yeah.
So what are we going to pass around? We got to get something, some kind of belt or medal.
Yeah,
Oh, man,
I
that'd be
tried.
sweet.
I tried finding a trophy. I'll come up with something. I couldn't find anything in time for the last trivia episode, but I'll find something worthy of.
Yeah.
Maybe a portable shower that you can take into the wilderness.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I was thinking something a little more gold looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll find the perfect gift. Trust me. Oh, there's the news panther.
There he is.
All right. Well, we can, handle this matter amongst ourselves later.
Yeah.
But right now, the news panther is telling us it's time for news, Brad.
Instead of having 2 stories this week, I'm just going to hit a couple of topics that have been going on. Unfortunately, they are a little bit more of the somber territory than we would like to see. So remember when I was talking about the home being built in Glacier National Park, the Flathead Conservation District filed a lawsuit saying the home needed to be torn down.
Is that the one right on the creek?
Yep. They didn't get the proper permits. And we were waiting on a result from U.S. Magistrate Kathleen DeSoto to see what the fate of this house was going to be. And she ruled in the favor of the couple that built the house, and it's allowed to stay.
No.
She released a 42-page ruling, which I have yet to really...
Which court is this?
It was a U.S. district court, like a federal district court.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know exactly which one.
I just want to know how high up this went.
Yeah, it was federal. It was federal district.
Isn't it federal land?
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem, or
Okay.
part of the thing in question is it federal?
Private?
Is it federal land? Is it state land?
Oh.
It's within a national park, which is federal land.
Oh, I thought it was their property. That
Well,
it
yeah,
just happened to be in
they
the-
own it was an it was an in holding within.
Oh, okay, yeah.
a national
so they
park.
got surrounded by a national
Yeah.
park.
She released a 42-page ruling. I haven't really read it yet. I kind of want to read into it a little bit, but it's a lot of legal jargon, so we'll see about that. But she said the Flathead Conservation District lacked the authority to enforce state law inside of the national park. And the Park Service themselves allowed them to build the home and even allowed them to hook up to Park Service sewer and water. So she was kind
That's
of
pretty
like,
crazy.
yeah, like it's within a federal national park. They even allowed it. So there's also precedents that she cited, a few other court cases where something like this came up, and the ruling was in favor of this is federal land and it's managed by the federal government, not the state government.
Who's sending them bills for utilities?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, because it is the federal, or it's the national park service.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
But they're probably buying from a power
local
plant
Yeah,
somewhere around.
wherever your local provider is. So she basically used the same legal theory that was case precedents from a few other cases to cite this and to say that the state commission has no jurisdiction over this property and it's the federal government that has jurisdiction. So
I'm trying to find
My
something
goodness.
to disagree about the story, and I kind of don't mind her ruling so much as that is, I mean, the way that you're reading it, and her quotes is, or her voting process is
and
kind of makes sense, and I'm trying to argue about it because I've been arguing about it because it's a gaudy ass home on a creek in a national park. And I don't like the fact that these people with these giant egos think that they matter over what we see.
Yeah.
But at the same time, based on law and based on the precedents that you're talking about, Kathleen DeSoto doesn't necessarily, she's not making an outlandish, dastardly claim
Right.
Yeah.
to allow these
Yeah.
people to do what they're doing.
I don't think so at all.
Yeah.
Well, because she even said in her ruling that she was bound by these previous court
Right.
decisions, like it's case law. Case law is what sets law.
It's precedents.
So yeah. So she said, and there was one in Glacier and one somewhere else in Montana that she cited in her ruling that this has already been decided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing that the Flathead Conservation District was trying to argue was in the original, remember back in our trivia episode
Yes, the one I won.
when we talked about the first national park, and Glacier was 1914, so it was one of the first ones that they ruled that in holdings were not subject to federal rulings or whatever. But since then, there's been law after law after law, and things have changed. And so, like Kathleen DeSoto said, that the only law that matters is the most recent law that was in place at the time of land transfer.
Understandably.
So that's what she has to go off of. She can't go off of a 1915 contract between the state and the government. So, so that, just to tie a bow on that.
It gets a little complicated.
Yeah. It is really complicated.
A lot complicated,
and there may be more to come. We'll see.
I think we will.
The next thing I'm going to talk about is funding cuts happening in the national parks and other federal lands and projects. This is a difficult topic to cover because it's so wide-ranging and is affecting so many different aspects, from staffing cuts, funding freezes, dismantling of infrastructure, and canceling programs in place to study and monitor wildlife, environmental impacts, and all sorts of important scientific studies and research. We were naive in thinking that the National Park Service was one of the few things that everyone could agree on that needs to be protected. We are always fighting against private entities that are greedily trying to get their hands on some of this land, but I never suspected that we'd also be fighting against our own government. The 2024 visitation data was just released, and it was a record-breaking year for visitation to national parks. I see these funding cuts as a slap in the face to the hundreds of millions of Americans and tourists from around the world that obviously love to visit these parks. It is looking like somehow almost every park will be negatively affected by these cuts. It is very obvious that we, Americans, love and cherish our national parks and the people who help maintain them. So because it is so wide-ranging and many of the details are still up in the air, it makes it very challenging to cover. Many of the articles I read say this could happen or that could happen, but always throw in the caveat of we'll wait and see the effects because we don't know what this is going to do. So right now, all we can really say with confidence is that if this is something that makes you upset or angry, you need to make your voice heard by contacting your representatives, your elected officials, attending protests, or donating money to organizations that are mounting legal challenges. The only other advice that we can give is to make sure to do some research before visiting national parks to see if they're going to start closing on certain days of the week, closing certain campsites, closing visitor centers, or they may be making changes to their permitting system, as long as they also haven't fired the people that manage their websites, because that's the only way you can get info. And if you visit a national park in the near future and encounter some issues about anything, please be kind to the rangers and employees and have a little bit of understanding for what they're going through. Also, treat these parks as if they're your own living room, dining room, kitchen, and take that extra step. If you see trash, pick it up. Don't leave trash. If you had a habit of leaving your wet wipes in your cat hole, don't do that. Just try to look after yourself, clean up campsites, help out any way you can, because it's going to help. Eventually, this tide may turn, and we want our national parks to be in the same condition that they were in however many years ago when they were first established. So just try to do your part, speak out, help in whatever way you can and you find fit.
Well, guys, I think we're going to all hope for the best, and we're definitely going to keep making podcasts. So today on this podcast, we're going to talk about some more gear, some more backpacking gear. This kind of feels like it's been a while since we've gotten to another gear topic.
Yeah.
We did water, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't really count, though. That's not.
It's just the stuff of life.
Not that big of a deal. No, the water episode was fantastic. That was super fun to get into, and we've had good discussions with listeners on Blue Sky. So it turned out to be a fun one.
Yeah, you know, for just talking about water, I mean, it was a pretty awesome freaking podcast.
Yes, that's right.
So go back and take a listen to that one. But today, on this gear episode, we're going to talk about what kind of backpacking clothing to take out with you from the waist down. So there's a lot that goes into that. And Patrick, do you want to start us off? Patrick, do you want to take top down or bottom up?
Man, I'm going to go bottom up. I think we start with the footwear.
All right.
And I'm going to take hiking shoes if you guys want to take the rest.
Sounds good.
So hiking shoes are generally lighter than hiking boots, but they're going to be heavier than your trail runners. They're generally lighter weight, but low cut like a shoe, which means they're also going to offer less ankle support than a hiking boot. Hiking shoes offer a balance between support and flexibility. So just like a shoe would, you could kind of bend it and move it. That's how it's going to act with your foot. It's going to move with all the different terrain you're going to be walking on the trail. And the support comes from the tread. It's got a lot of that traction. It really digs into the mud, into the trail like a hiking boot would. So they're a great option. From what I've researched, they're best for day hikes on moderate trails where you're going to need good traction and some ankle support. But remember, they are the lighter option. So if you feel like you're ready to go, you're moving, that if you don't want that heavy boot on your foot, you can always switch to the hiking shoe.
A little better airflow too.
Yeah.
Nice. And if you want a little bit more support, you could switch to a full-on boot. They generally come in mid or high top, which gives you more ankle support. Like, I notoriously roll my ankles. Travis gave me the nickname of baby ankles for a while.
I think we've told a couple stories on the pod about your weekend.
So I've always worn boots. Mids have always worked for me. They've been enough support, or maybe not enough because I still always roll my ankles. But I feel like I get pretty good support from a mid top. And like Patty said with the shoes, you have usually a better tread. Deeper, let you get more traction if you're trekking through mud. They're ideal for heavy backpacks or if you're on a rocky terrain, just unstable ground that you're walking over. Mm-hmm. It just gives you a little more stability because that's not a weak point in your body. Some people prefer to swap the laces out because like the ones that come with it, you're going to tie your, how's the saying going? Go to tie your shoes, like the bunny thing. Have you guys ever heard that? Like when you're a kid, to tie your shoes.
What, the bunny ears?
Yeah, like to tie your shoes.
We all learned how to do
it. So some people get away from that, and you can get like a clasp type of some kind of to secure your laces instead of tying them.
Yeah,
because it's when you have your backpack on, it's really hard to tie your shoes if it comes untied.
It really is. Yeah.
So
I never thought of that.
Oh, really?
Clasp. No.
Yeah.
How does it clasp?
It's hard to explain. It's one of those like cylinder shaped things, and you press a plunger, and that plunger holds the laces in place. Like you'll see it on waistbands a lot.
I know what you're talking about. That's sweet.
Yeah.
How much weight are those?
0.2 ounces.
Oh,
no, I don't know. I don't know.
Dude, Jonathan's out there rolling in his grave.
Because
no.
Yeah.
I know that mainly now because the boots that I'm wearing currently, the shoestrings are starting to fray. So I've been looking to swap my laces out and came across some of these fancy ones.
Okay, well, I guess the last style of shoe are the trail runners, which I know the least about. I'm a big guy. I don't tend to move quickly through the woods. But trail runners are generally the lightest options you can get, followed by the hiking shoes, and then the hiking boots are the heaviest. Trail runners are designed to flex more for running motion, while hiking shoes and boots are usually stiffer for stability on rougher terrain. They're perfect for people that like to do fast-paced trail running, where agility and flexibility are the keys.
Yeah. If you're a fast mover, trail runners are balling. Like the Hokas and those sorts of shoes are so farting cool.
Yeah.
It just makes you look like you're just going to hoover all the way down the trail.
Could you imagine trying to bound up like rocks and up a trail in those big boots? You would get your
Oh,
toe
yeah.
caught on so much shit.
Yeah.
I think that's
You'd eat
like
it.
through hikers a lot, like mostly wear trail runners.
Yeah.
And it's something I've always looked at, but have never taken the plunge into.
No, it's just there's something about the trail runner. I'm a mid boot as well. So if there's something just about a trail runner that it just seems so carefree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, call me busted knees.
For sure,
but there's
Yeah.
something about it that is just like, man, if I don't have this sort of security for my ankles or my feet or whatever, then I
Yeah.
am doomed.
That's kind of how I feel. It's like a security blanket. I got a little bit of ankle support.
Yeah, I feel kind of uncomfortable walking around in my camp shoes. Like I should still have my boot on.
What
You know?
boots do you wear?
It's I think for probably the past decade, I've been buying the same like Columbia boots.
Wow.
At, Shoe Carnival.
I don't mean to scoff. That's disgusting.
I love
on me.
them.
I feel like an elitist.
I feel
I
like
love 'em.
I feel like they sell Columbia everywhere, like Kohl's, Dick's.
Yeah.
like you can get Columbia, and it seems like they are making an effort to come back. Like there seems like their gear is getting better. And it might just be me,
Yeah.
but their styles are getting like cooler to where I actually want to wear their gear. It seems like their stuff's getting maybe
Those
it's-
boots, I
Yeah.
wear them all the time, especially this time of year.
yeah.
I'm wearing them to work. I'm wearing them out because it's snowy and wet and gross here for the last 3 months.
Yeah, like I said a while
And-
ago, hiking boots are kind of like grown up snow boots.
Yeah. What boots do you wear?
I started with the Solomon Ultra 4 Mid GTX,
Yeah.
and I've always stuck with that because they've always done me right, and I enjoy them. Like I said, because I roll my ankles a lot, or it's specifically one ankle, but I feel like it gives me some pretty good support. I really like the tread that they have because I don't only wear them on the trail, I wear them when I'm here, like out going to our parks around Fort Wayne, and it's usually muddy, like especially the last 3 weeks, everywhere I've gone has been super muddy. So it gives me a little bit of extra traction because they have really good tread, like really deep tread. So it gives me extra traction.
Yeah.
They've never really fallen apart on me, and they're good in snow, and they're Gore-Tex, so
Yeah.
they're waterproof. We'll probably talk about Gore-Tex
Yeah.
here in a second, but
Yeah.
what do you wear, Patty?
I wear the La Sportiva Ultra Raptor 2s.
God damn.
I know that I love the name, so I memorized it like for sure. And they look sleek. I just like.
Yeah,
I
we'll
like-
say your boots look cool.
Yeah.
I always think like, damn,
Yeah.
Patty looks cool.
I like the style of them, but like the same. They have just been something that they've just rocked all the trails I've been on.
Yeah.
I've never once had a problem with them. Nothing's fallen apart on them. So they've just been good. And I wear the mids, like I said, because of that ankle support as well. So La Sportiva and the Solomon just seem like, I think they're just sturdy brands, you know?
Yeah, I think you'll
They're
see
in it.
them. I think you'll see all three of these brands quite often. Like they're everywhere.
Yeah.
I do have one caveat about my boots and their comfortability is I have these hard orthopedic inserts that kind of make every
Oh.
shoe feel better
Yeah.
that I put in them. So
I almost feel like it's a given that you should swap your insoles out.
Oh, I've never done that.
I feel like you should definitely like Super Feet is a really good insole.
Wow.
But they're like $40, but
Yeah. But
and you can get them based on your arc.
That's
Like if you have a high foot arch,
Yeah.
arch or arc. If you have a high foot arch,
you got me on that one.
like you can
Arch,
get
for
different
sure.
heights, and they're great. Like because
Yeah.
I feel like for some reason insoles are always shit that come with every shoe.
yeah.
So I always swap them out.
So earlier you mentioned that your boots were made out of Gore-Tex. Patrick,
Yeah.
what is Gore-Tex?
So Gore-Tex is a type of kind of high-end material. I'm not exactly sure. A
Fluorocarbon.
fluorocarbon
Yeah, it's a
material.
plastic.
Why did you ask me this? We got the fucking engineer science guy in the building, dude. I'm lost. What I do know is I'm not exactly sure what Gore-Tex is, But what I do know is it's hard to find a boot, a shoe, or a trail runner that isn't made of Gore-Tex.
Yeah.
Like you got to really dig deep into that third page to find something that isn't made of them. And there's a lady that Brad and I watch on YouTube,
Homemade
Wonderlust. And she was the first kind of backpacker that I saw kind of talking jazz about Gore-Tex.
Yeah.
Jazz in a bad way or a good way?
No, talking jazz, man. They're jive turkeys, man. You know what I mean? They're talking jazz about it. They're talking bad about it. And she was the first one that I ever really heard that from. But if you remember back to Jonathan's episode, he was also talking a little bit of jazz about Gore-Tex, in that your thru hikers, people that are serious into this thing, they seem to be kind of getting away from Gore-Tex.
Yeah, I think there's some kind of issue or toxin with whatever they make the Gore-Tex out of.
Yes.
Aren't there a lot of controversies?
Certainly there's some controversy as to what that is. It's DuPont, I believe, probably.
And it's a forever plastic.
Yes.
Or material.
So certainly that is the case, but what I'm speaking to is more like the backpacking aspect of it, in that one of the big draws of Gore-Tex, and Brad, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but one of the big draws of Gore-Tex is they are waterproof and very good at doing so, right? So that's a positive. But on the other hand, Gore-Tex is so good at not letting water in that it doesn't let any sort of moisture or hydration out. So when your feet get wet, when your feet get sweaty, they're not the best, right?
Yeah, that moisture can't get out.
It doesn't get out.
Yeah.
Which means they also don't dry fast. So there's a chance that at the end of the night, you take your boots off, and depending on the weather, you're going to put your feet right back into moist boots. And that's the drawback.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, one of the drawbacks. Other than it being a forever plastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I do understand that. But Gore-Tex ran the market for a while, man.
Oh, yeah.
They kind of hit it like
it's a very well-known brand.
Yeah. I had never heard of it until I got in the Army, and there were probably our, rain jackets or whatever were made out of Gore-Tex.
Yeah. I tried looking.
I was like, what's Gore-Tex? And everybody's like, oh, it's so great.
I tried looking up to see if it was invented for a military application, because I remember the same thing. Like a lot of the gear was Gore-Tex.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find anything really saying it was developed for a military. Because, a lot of our shit that we have in daily life was developed for military applications, like even GPS.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, but I couldn't really find anything. But I prefer it for the kind of going against the thru hiker thing, because I wear my boots at home a lot. So I a lot of the places I go to are muddy and wet. And I know if this puddle I'm going to step into, granted, it seems like you always sink deeper than I think I'm going to into a puddle. But I know for the most part, if I step into this, it's not going to overflow at the top of my boot, or I'm going to try to walk around.
Right.
And it comes in handy just because I don't give a shit. If it gets muddy as hell, and I take that into consideration when buying a boot. I want a pair of shoes that I don't care about. They can get dirty, they can get muddy, I can do whatever I want to them. And those are those shoes. That's what they're for.
Yeah, and I will say, too, that when I was researching some of the pros and cons of Gore-Tex, it did seem like one of those issues where they're the positives are also the negatives, and the negatives are also the positives in the way, for instance, right, that they're so good at being waterproof, which is a positive. They don't let moisture out, which is a negative.
Yeah.
And then I read that most often Gore-Tex can be a bit cheaper than your leather boots and your more traditional boot style. And while they're a bit more expensive, they're also the most durable. They're also all these other things.
Yeah.
So it's it's I think like anything we're going to talk about in this episode, it's really your preference as to what you want and what you feel comfortable in.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. So you just gotta try them on and put your feet in and walk around and see what you think.
Yeah, and I will say my Solomons are they run about $160, so
Yeah.
they're not cheap. But I'll have them for 4 or 5 years. Like I think
Yeah.
the pair I have now, I bought 3 or so years ago.
Yeah.
And the shoelaces are just now, like the laces are just starting to fray.
Right.
And that's the only issue with them. Other than that, they're good to go.
Yeah, I feel like the Columbia ones I always get are pretty durable because
Yeah.
I use them every day at work.
Yeah.
And I'm up and down and all over the place with those boots every day. And they seem to hold up for a long
Nice.
time.
Yeah.
So are there any more considerations you would make if you were out there shopping right now?
Yeah, I think like one thing too that I find handy is some of them have like a toe guard.
Oh, yeah.
Like I know mine do. Like the toe's just built up, so when you accidentally kick a rock, you don't break your toe or like it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And that comes in handy quite often because you're always pounding your foot into something that you don't mean to pound it into.
Dude, when I was looking for my La Sportivas, when I was looking for those, you said something in passing, and it was something to like, well, what about your toes? And because I was looking seriously at getting trail runners for the last hike last year,
Yeah.
and Brad said that, and it was just like in passing statement, but it just kept like ringing in my ears. So then now, anytime I look for hiking shoes or any sort of footwear, it always got to have that toe guard, because you would be surprised at the amount of times you like fucking stub your toe on a like a root
All the time.
right in the middle of the thing, or you're stepping up a rock and you kind of drag your toe. You got to think, man,
You'll
you're
do
on
it
mile
3.
10 of a 50-mile backpacking trip, and you stub your toe on a root.
Yeah.
At mile 10. I mean, that hurts for a while.
And you'll do it 3 times in a row.
Jeez
after you-
Louise, you will. You'll do it more after the first time because you're just compensating. You probably touched up your other toe.
It's worse.
It just stinks, man. So
And I would imagine that's something if you're doing like 15, 20 miles for hundreds of days straight,
Yeah.
you probably get more in tuned with that
yeah,
to where trail runners work better because you're used to picking your feet up.
Yeah.
And your legs will get tired.
Yeah.
And you won't pick them up as high later on
Yeah.
the trail, you know?
Yeah. Like I said before, for me, like I think of when I buy, because they're kind of expensive boots, can I use them when I'm backpacking, and can I use them when I'm at home? Can I use them when I'm mushroom hunting? Like that's kind of what I look for.
yeah.
It really gets it all. Like that boot, you can use it for
Yeah.
just about anything.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep moving. We've talked about boots enough, I think, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, can I take this next question,
Yes,
Travis?
sir.
Because
I can talk about boots all day.
yeah, you can. We just did. Sticking with feet, let's move inward a little bit from the boot, the shoe, the trail boot, shoe. Let's get into the socks. To me, when I think about socks on trail, it is probably the first article of clothing I'm thinking about. I
Oh,
go,
really?
oh man, I love hiking socks
Yeah.
for starters, so I wear them almost all the time in my normal life. But on trail, if you have a fresh pair of socks to put on, and I mean, I just think they make or break a trip. If you have problems with your feet, you're screwed, and your socks are the first way to ward off any dangers.
Yeah, if you buy the wrong material, for sure.
So I've heard them termed hiking socks. I've heard them termed special socks.
I think Travis turned them special socks in an intro
Yeah?
many episodes ago.
Oh, right. That's where I heard it then. So, can you explain, Brad, a little bit more about what special socks are or hiking socks are and why they're important?
Yeah, so I guess to begin with, normally the majority of the material in them is wool. Obviously, they're gonna have some spandex because they got to stretch. They usually have more padding too. Like sometimes all the way around, sometimes on the foot side, the bottom side of your foot.
The sole?
Yeah, the sole. Yeah. For the most part, like I can tell as soon as I put my foot in a shoe, any shoe, if I'm wearing these socks or if I'm wearing like Nike cotton socks or whatever, like I instantly can tell a difference when I put my foot in a shoe.
Oh, yeah.
Because you do have There's one thing I never thought of is like the padding. Like there is extra cushion there in your sock, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to special socks, I think one of the most important aspects of a special sock is the material. That wool, that synthetic blend that most of them are made out of, or that merino wool. What's so good about those is they wick the sweat, right? They're also temperature controlled. So if they're hot, they'll generally cool your feet down a little bit. And if they're cold, then they'll warm your feet up. But in terms of like safety and being able to make it like the long haul on trail, wool is great because of that wicking sweat. We all know, we've all been in a pool for a long period of time, or been in a pond or something like that, and your feet, or in the shower, and your feet are wet. They get wrinkled up and get really hydrated, and that means they're going to easily blister or easily get cut or easily just start rubbing. Your toes will start rubbing
those cotton
together.
socks will do that.
Yeah, for sure. But the special socks prevent that from happening.
Yes.
So that, I mean, to me, that's what makes it a special sock.
And like wool notoriously keeps you warm if they get wet. So if you do get your socks wet, it'll still keep your feet warm.
Yep.
Because that, like, one of the most miserable things you can experience is cold ass feet, cold ass hands, like any of your extremities being cold. So
absolutely.
What are some good brands of socks we can tell the listeners about?
I know since I started backpacking, I started with Darn Tough socks.
Yeah.
And I still have some of the same pairs that I bought back in 2016.
Damn.
And there's a couple pairs that I've put in they have a lifetime warranty, and I've put in for the warranty and they send me a credit, so they don't send you like new socks, but I got a credit to buy new socks. And I did. Because, I mean, why not? They're expensive. They're like maybe $40, $30, but it's a lifetime warranty. Like you buy a pair of socks for life. So
tell the listeners a little bit more about that warranty. Like, how does that work?
I think all that it was I emailed them saying there was a flat spot. Because I think over time, the ball of my foot wore like a flat spot, or wore the wool off of that spot of the sock, so it was just spandex. And I emailed them and said that, and I think they replied and said, "Can you send us pictures?" And I sent them pictures, and they said, "All right, we'll issue a credit for $40." And I think I did have to mail the socks back to them.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, that is wild.
And
there's a part of me that's just like, they're socks.
And it may not have even been, I don't think it was even like you have to spend this $40 at the Darn Tough online store. I think it was like a $40 Visa. You can
just
spend
a gift
it
card.
anywhere. Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Do you know if any of the other brands, because the brand that I would choose as my favorite right now is Smartwool.
That I don't know.
No?
Yeah.
Damn, that'd be super interesting.
But I do also have some Smartwool socks.
Oh, yeah.
Because they seem more fluffy. Like they seem thicker than the Darn Tough.
Well, and the same thing, too. I've had my Smartwools for quite a few years now, and I still rock the same ones that I bought my first try. What I like most about these special socks, if we will, is the like at the top where I have pretty large calf muscles.
I hear you, brother.
Yeah, you do. And
I wouldn't know.
You know, like when you wear Nike socks or Hanes socks or anything, dress socks, anything like that, what ends up happening after probably like the first or the second wear is that top at your calf kind of stretches out and then just crumbles all the way down to your ankle. And it just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And none of my Smartwool or Farm to Feet or Darn Tough socks have started doing that yet.
Yeah.
They are right where I put them, and when I take them off, there's like an indention in my leg of how like tight they are, which I'm down for. Like that's it.
I really want to check those out, those Darn Toughs.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't have a brand of socks.
Yeah.
I just go buy them when I need them.
None of that surprises us. You don't even have to. We assumed, I think all the listeners assumed that you were just rocking like a pair of socks, you know?
I'll just find a brand on the rack, and is that a reasonable price? Sure, I'll get those ones.
Yeah, but have you been to Sierra yet?
Oh yeah,
Because I'll tell you, man, like there's if you're a backpacker, a hiker, a birder, or doing anything outdoors or at work or at the construction site or going to a fair with your child, if you don't stop at Sierra and pick yourself up a $12 pair of darn tough socks or Smart Wools or something like
Farm to Feet.
Farm to Feet is another great brand. If you don't pick yourself up a pair, you're doing your feet a disservice, brother.
Yeah, and that's what I would recommend for people that are looking to go to a place to find new gear and stuff, especially clothing.
Yep.
They have racks and racks of clothing, outdoor stuff, and it's all good brands, and it's good
we'll get
looking.
into that once we talk pants.
Yeah.
I found my favorite pants at Sierra.
So go to Sierra.
Let's not get that far, and Sierra's not paying us yet, Travis J. We're not giving them free promo all night. Let's get to like the actual backpacking part of the socks, because I think bringing clothing is kind of what we need to discuss as well. So you're going on a week-long backpacking trip. How many pairs of socks you bringing?
I think normally when I'm heading to a location to start my backpacking trip, I'll have multiple pairs like ready to go.
Yeah.
And then look at the forecast. And if it's going to be rainy and wet, I'll bring like 5 pairs.
5 pairs?
But if it's going to be raining the whole time.
Okay.
But if it's looking like it may rain 1 or 2 days or it's going to be sunny the whole time, I'll take 3 pairs, 2 to hike in, 1 to sleep in.
Wow.
And that's like
that's what I do.
Like I just kind of go, if I can, go prepared and look at the forecast ahead.
Oh yeah, you always
base
should.
it on that.
For sure.
Yeah.
I've never taken 5 pairs though.
I don't think I ever actually have.
I get the point of it, but
I think for the most part, I've always taken 3.
Yeah, so it's 2 pairs that you would actually hike in, and then a warm, comfy pair for when you're putting the jammies on, getting in the sleeping bag.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I do. What do you do?
Nothing feels better.
5 nights, 5 pairs.
5 nights, 5 pairs?
3 nights.
Oh man,
Travis
3 pairs.
Such a rule.
And I might even put a surprise pair somewhere that I'll forget.
Good.
And be
like at lunch, you just swap them out. Get a fresh pair.
Are we discovering why Travis J's looking at a 75-liter pack right now? It's because I need to bring a pair of socks for you. Put a new pair on every day you're on trail.
That's a luxury for me. Not
hold on,
necessarily every day, because I will like use the same pair for sleeping at night a couple days in a row. And then
you even swap your sleeping socks out?
Just putting a fresh pair of freaking socks on is a luxury for me. I
can get that.
I can definitely appreciate it.
All right, dudes. I think we've had enough conversation about socks and about boots.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought we could talk forever about shoes and socks?
2 topics.
Yeah.
We still have a lot to go, so I think we're going to make this a 2-part episode because there's plenty more to talk about from the waist and below.
It's feeling that way. That's for sure.
But I think we should end with one more topic, and might as well keep it foot related. What about your camping shoes, Patrick?
Oh, dude. I don't know why I didn't think about this before, but great thought, dude. I will just preface this all with, after talking with Jonathan, I'm not 1,000% sure if I'm ever going to bring camp shoes again.
Oh.
But that is to say that every other backpacking trip I've ever gone on, I've most certainly brought camp shoes.
Well, it's kind of like, to the non-backpacking listeners, who would have thought when we set up camp, get your tent, or probably before you get your tent set up, you slip into a comfy pair of shoes, you know? You're like, it's like Mr. Rogers changing his shoes when he gets home.
Lightweight, cushiony.
So, like Pat, explain a little bit what camp shoes are, like the purpose.
So camp shoes, like Brad said, camp shoes are just something that you're going to put into your kangaroo pouches, where I put my sandals, or you put inside your pack, or some people strap them on using I call them monkey clips onto the back of your pack.
You see a lot of those on the trail.
Yeah, you do.
Camp shoes hanging off the back of backpacks.
Yeah, you do. It's just something comfy where you can take your socks off at the end of a trail while you're setting up your tent, while you're cooking your food, let your feet air out, but not like step on all the rocks and the twigs that you might have at your campsite. So just something nice to put your feet into.
Yeah, like you usually are going to get your water.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, normally there's water somewhere around your campsite.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to go somewhere to get it.
Yeah.
So you can durable enough shoes that you can, or sandals that you can take, that you can wear to a water source.
Yeah.
And they should be waterproof so that if you do have to gather some water and some deeper.
I don't necessarily care about waterproof.
Really?
Yeah, because I think that the point of the hope in a camp shoe is that they're so insignificant in their weight and their volume that they take up in your pack that it's not that big of a thing.
I guess I'm not saying waterproof. I'm saying easily dryable.
Yeah.
Well, like for me, and I just said it, I don't consider mine camp shoes. I have Teva sandals.
Right.
That,
basically sandals that shower shoes.
Yep, shower
to some
shoes.
degree. Yeah.
Something where it's just, I don't want to.
For all you military people out there, shower shoes.
Oh, really? Is that a thing? Because I thought that was a jail term.
Well, makes sense. They would share that.
But at the end of the day, I think any backpacker or hiker that's been out there that knows that they have another long day coming or that they've just experienced a long day that day, to take your feet out of the boots and then take your foot out of the sock. And it is just, especially on a nice day out in the backcountry, I mean, what a glorious experience to be able to walk around barefooted.
Yeah.
Like with my Tevas.
Yeah.
What camp shoes do you guys use? If you guys what do you got? Do you take camp shoes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
My Hey Dudes that I bought are very lightweight.
Yeah.
And I mean, well, I don't know if they're lightweight to Brad's standards.
They're super lightweight.
Yeah, they are.
Well, I got lucky because I really like them. I still wear those
all the time
around the house. Actually, I think I wore them here tonight.
Yeah, you did.
So those are the ones I take on trail with me. They're just easy on, easy off.
Yeah.
They don't weigh anything, but they give you tons of cushion.
That's the ticket.
Yeah.
I think that's like the perfect camp shoe.
Yep. And if you get
them
them wet, it's not a big deal because you can dry them off easy.
That's fine. Brad, what do you wear?
Yeah, well, and I think I took that cue from Travis, bringing Hey Dudes out, and that's what I've been wearing.
Oh.
And I will give a shout out to a friend of the podcast, Ed Matson.
Yeah.
He was the first person that I ever saw wear Hey Dudes.
Yeah.
Like before they were
no
everywhere
kidding.
and you saw dudes wearing them everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Ed was one of the first people I saw wear Hey Dudes.
I can't
Nice.
figure out if they're super popular or not. I
You see
feel
them
like I got on the tail end, but I don't. I guess I don't look at people's
They are
shoes enough.
super popular.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a
Dude,
few ounces.
I'm so pissed because I bought my Hey Dudes at a shoe store in Auburn, Indiana.
Yeah.
And my dumbass gave them my email address at the cash register, and I got so much fucking junk mail, dude.
Damn.
What was I thinking? I'll never do it again.
Hey, dude, would you like to buy a pair of Hey Dudes?
Oh, dude, it was like electric companies. It was all this
geez
fraud
Louise.
stuff. I was getting all sorts of stuff.
But I do feel like it is such a relaxing, like it helps you unwind after the day of hiking when you can take your socks off.
Oh, yeah.
Let your feet breathe. Kind of goes back to the Gore-Tex thing when your feet can't breathe if you are wearing Gore-Tex. Just letting those puppies air out.
Oh, man, there's no better feeling.
And if you step into a stream and put them back into your camp shoes, like Travis was saying earlier, like they should be easy to dry out.
Yeah.
Like, whatever it is, a sandal, a shoe, like it should be very minimalistic.
So like a foam sole or something.
Yeah.
Dude, have you guys seen within the last few years, I think all the companies have been putting them out, but like the puffy sleeping bag camp shoe?
Yep.
Have you put your feet into those at all?
There's one I kept looking at, like North Face has one.
North Face has
it's
one.
like the, I can't remember, Thermoball or something.
Yeah.
But I kept trying to catch them on sale, but they would never be in my size when they were super cheap.
What do they look like?
They literally look like a puffy jacket
Like
or
a quilt.
or a sleeping
Yeah.
bag.
But they're
or
like
quilt.
slivers, camp
But they're
shoes?
slippers. Yeah, they're camp shoes.
Yeah,
they're
they're
super lightweight.
Yeah, they're like slides.
They're
almost.
legit?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the ones like, yes, there are the ones like slides, but I'm talking about the ones that are
they have
like
a heel.
booties.
Yeah.
No, there's no heel. It's just like booties.
Yeah.
They look like booties.
Because I think Teva has some too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
It's such a different look, but I mean, when you look at them, it's just like, oh my gosh, like that is comfortable.
All right, guys.
I've
We're getting a little out of control here.
Dude, will you get us on the camp shoes?
Any final points
Yeah,
on camp shoes?
Yeah, because I alluded to it just a little bit ago with Jonathan. Like, I just want to just comment on the fact that I might not actually ever take camp shoes again, because for that minimal amount of time, I mean, I'm starting to get into being weight conscious on trail, things like that, and for the minimal amount of time you're going to have camp shoes on, there is an argument from thru hikers or ultralighters to not actually wear or bring camp shoes.
They're so brutal.
I don't agree with it.
No luxuries.
Yeah, there is no luxuries. Like,
Because it's also like if you have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, you can just slip on camp shoes.
But their goal is different.
Their goal is different. All right, valid.
So, let's understand the differences between thru hikers.
Well,
and,
you get me on the camp shoes. And here, this is why we have to make this a part 2.
Although, I do have to cut 2.2 pounds to justify bringing my camera and lens. So,
you're not even. I mean, you Mr. Anti-luxury. You're going to bring a camera and then not bring a camp chair anymore.
Well, I know my camp chair's on the chopping block.
You're already getting rid of your luxury. So why not get rid of camp shoes?
Well,
does it count if you drop 2.2 pounds of weight?
But I think what we may get it
on your body.
What we may get it. Yeah, I think it does.
It does?
Oh yeah, it's less weight your knees are carrying.
Valid.
Maybe there might be some kind of formula there. Like it may be 2 pounds of body weight may be equivalent to like 6 pounds of pack weight.
You don't know this for a fact.
I should come up with Brad's theorem.
You are justifying.
I'm gonna come up with Brad's theorem.
Yeah,
guys,
the amount of body weight you have to lose.
We're getting way off course.
Yeah, sorry.
We're saying a lot of drive-by science.
Drive-by science.
It's back.
Yeah, it's back.
But I think this is a good time to end the episode, and we'll do a second one coming up next week, and we'll cover some more.
Yeah, I think we're going to cover pants. We're going to cover thermal bottoms. We're going to cover shorts, and we're going to cover belts next week.
Belts.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't think about belts.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
All right.
I will say real quick to put a bow on that, I think rain pants may be one of the things I sacrifice.
Oh, well, more to come.
Yeah, yeah, a little cliffhanger.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I want to thank everybody for listening, and we're going to get out of here. So keep on sauntering.
Yeah, keep on sauntering.
Protect our perks.